So yeah, guys, I'm rolling. Here I am, first episode of Toy Talk, the adventures of my toy collection. I would say, me collecting toys and going to fairs and etc. and getting the good stuff. Well, just for starters, who is me? I'm Andre, but I'm assuming you already know that since you're listening to this. I'm assuming that everyone who's actually listening to this or tuning in will know who I am through social media or know me personally. This podcast is meant for my as a personal log, and I'm just allowing you guys to listen in, I guess. And why am I doing this? Well, I want to reach out to more toy collectors. I love toy collecting. I've been collecting toys since I was 10. I'm hoping to turn 50 in a few months, so that's 40 years of toy collecting under my belt. And I love reaching out to toy collectors and talking about toys. People that know me, who met me, and know that I can't stop talking. I always talk. So this essentially is going to be the longest monologue I've ever had. I used to have another podcast for the Ghostbusters Dutch division. That kind of stopped, fizzled, and so now I'm in it alone. I don't have a partner to do this with. I'll get to that in a bit. But yeah, that's Toy Talk. And I'll tell you know what? Let's just listen to the intro tune, and I'll tell you more about it.
Toy box time machine, take me back to rainbow shells and a cabbage patch. Saturday cartoons where the magic's true. Toy Talk's my portal back to you.
And welcome back. Yeah, okay, so Toy Talk. Why? As I said, collecting is something I like to do, and I want to connect to other people. I go to conventions a lot. I see people there that I know from the socials. I don't feel like I am... Oh gosh, I'm meeting people. I'm just seeing people. People say hi, walk by, the common courtesies, and move along. And I want to see if there's more out there, more people that I can connect to. Perhaps I can connect better through this medium of a podcast. Well, as I said, I'm Andre. I'm 49 years old, and I collect toys, and I collect a plethora of toys. I collect so many toys, which is, I would say I don't have a focus on what I collect, really. I know it when I see it. That's how my collection is built up. And I have some items in my collection that are some items that have more focus, so to say. So I would say the main focus, the biggest focus would be Ghostbusters, real Ghostbusters. In particular, I think I have a pretty decent collection of real Ghostbusters. Carded, boxed, loose, and some, of the more exotic things like the Ectoglows, not the reissues, I do have. So I have that, and G.I. Joe is a pretty big focus, heavy on G.I. Joe. Master of the Universe sees a lot of space taken up, and I think... just leave it in the comments, but I think most people that do know me for toy collecting know me because I collect Gem and the Holograms. That's the thing that I'm probably best known for outside the Ghostbusters community. A doll line for girls, and I collect it because I love it. It's pure 80s nostalgia. It's the fashions, the music, the dolls. I love them back then. I didn't have them as a kid because, they were girl toys, so to say, and my mom was like, I'm afraid, you get teased for having them, and so I just enjoy them from afar. And at a friend's house who did have them, she actually copied the tapes that went with the the doll, so I had the music and everything. So yeah, I would say those 4 are the pillars. I'm looking around my toy room right now, and yeah, that would be the main focus. Ghostbusters, real Ghostbusters, G.I. Joe, Master of the Universe, and of course Gem and the Holograms. And I'm not a completionist. I don't need to have every item of a set or of a certain release. I mean, I don't need to have a complete line of G.I. Joes. That's like near impossible. I don't need to have everything from the real Ghostbusters because, you know, some carry a very hefty price tag. I think I'm very near complete with Gem of the Holograms. I'm only missing like a handful of fashions, those extra clothing sets that came with the dolls. I'm only missing like 5 of them. 5 of them, I think. So, yeah. So that's a little bit about me and who I am. My goal was also, as I said before, to connect to other people. The question is, of course, Andre, you're Dutch. Yeah, I am. Well, then why do you do this in English? And the main reason would be to reach out to more people, to get more people connected. I can do this. I could have done this in Dutch. I could have done this in French. I could have done this in German. I could have done this in English, which I'm doing. So if you ever feel like, hey, Andre, this is interesting. I like this. How about we connect on Discord or whatever and just record a small session, and I'll be a guest on Toy Talk for a bit, and I would love that. So if there's anyone out there who says, hey, this is something I want to do, and it doesn't need to be anything that I can talk about. You know, if you have a toy collection or you collect something, vintage preferably, but not necessarily, and you think, hey man, this is something I want to put on the show or on the podcast. Look at me being arrogant, calling it a show. If you want to be a part of it, just let me know, and we'll figure it out. If you say, well, my English isn't that good, we can do it in Dutch. If you can do it in German, we can do it in French. No problem. If you have a topic like, hey, I collect this. This is my passion. Let me know. We will work something out, and it'll be good. It doesn't, as I said, it doesn't have to be anything that I can talk about. I mean, I don't collect Transformers. Yay, boo on me. But I don't. I never had them as a kid. I had, it's not entirely true. I had two Transformers, I think. I had Brawler, which was a Decepticon tank, which I still have, and one of those top spin things, those Autobot guys with the drills. And that was it. And I didn't have them because my mom just, you know, it was too expensive. I mean, Transformers were insanely expensive. I was visiting Vision Toys the other day, which is like a friend of mine and also like a toy dealer. And he was selling this 40th anniversary Optimus Prime thing in box, which is really good looking. Really looked like the real deal, except for the big 40th anniversary sticker on there. And I was like, hey man, how much is this? And he said, well, I think, don't quote me on that, but I think he said 120 euros. And I was like, whoa, dude, that's steep, you know. That's steep. And he said, well, is it though? Because in the 80s, it was 110 guilders. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. You know, over a 40-year period, it's not that bad, really. You know, but Transformers were always expensive. Gem and the Holograms were always expensive. I mean, I think the average Gem and the Holograms, I'll have a few of these some of these toy catalogs here that have Gem in them and Transformers in them and G.I. Joe in them and whatever. And I'm just like, wow, were they that expensive? I mean, I don't recall paying or having. I didn't pay for it at all because I got it from my parents. But I don't recall Masters of the Universe figures being 18 guilders. And the Evil Horde being 22 guilders even. They were more expensive, the newer lines. G.I. Joe's, I just looked it up. I should have remembered. I don't know. I can look it up later. But I remember G.I. Joe being really expensive. And, compared to the other lines, G.I. Joe did have something for everyone. You had like smaller action figures, which were not that expensive. You had small play sets, like 15, 20 guilder play sets, like what was it called? Was it Outpost Defender? I think it was. I don't know. It was these small play sets with like a tent and like a missile, and that was it. But you could play with it. You could actually build a military base with it, so that was good. So yeah, that was the big plus for G.I. Joe. But Transformers was expensive. Jim and the Hologram was expensive. Master of the Universe was expensive. Real Ghostbusters, they were pricey back then. I mean, $17.99 for an action figure. You know, that was pretty intense. I think I never really looked at it that way because, you know, when I had to like work for it, I got like an allowance and I can buy toys, and it was just, you know, one hand washes the other kind of deal for me. I was like, hey, I'm working for this and I'm getting toys, so best of both worlds, right? I get something to do and I get toys to play with. I'm fine. So yeah, that's how it started. Basically, as a kid, I mean, my first memories are of Star Wars toys for Christmas, and I liked Star Wars, but I hadn't seen the movies, so they never really dug that deep until Return of the Jedi in 1983. That's when I really started to appreciate Star Wars for what it was. But by then, He-Man had already taken like a center spot, and then 2 years later, or a year later, Ghostbusters the movie came out, and that completely absorbed me for the rest of my my life. With the toys coming out 2 years later, I was hooked. I had to have all the toys. I had a large collection, and I'm now looking at them, and I think I still have a very big portion of the toys that I had as a kid, which is amazing, you know. And where some kids lose interest at a certain age, like, okay, at 12, then, especially boys, the girls start to get more like a topic and a lot more interesting than toys. You know, you sell off your toys. I never really felt like doing that. I mean, I know my cousin bought a lot of my mask from me because I just didn't like it. It was Transformers and G.I. Joe mixed, and at the time I didn't care for it. So he bought it. I have it now. He gave it back to me for safekeeping. And it's not officially mine, but it's for safekeeping, which is good. So yeah, a lot of talk about me collecting toys, and yeah, as I said, it started 40 years ago. It's still going strong. A lot of passion projects, things that I enjoy, or toys that I stumble upon and go like, hey, I never knew this existed. I'm just looking at a Brooke Shields fashion doll that my wife found, and I'm like, oh, I didn't even know that existed, but here she is. Or Breathless Mahoney from the Dick Tracy movie. Looking around, let's see, Snorks. Well, I didn't know that were Snorks. And The Other World, I just got a few weeks ago. I'll tell you more about that in a bit. Visionaries, Commodore 64 games. I got a lot. I got a lot of stuff on display here that I just, you know, enjoy looking at. And I just close the door, put on some music, some tunes, and I'm like totally happy. I'm fine. That's good. I watch a movie in here, you know, old VHS tapes. Nothing beats that charm. So yeah, that's the reason I'm still stuck there, probably, because people are going to ask, hey, why do you collect? Well, that's probably it. You know, it takes me back to a time where I was happier. Life was simpler. I don't know, but it's a good thing. Okay, so enough about me. I'm not going to do this every episode, mind you. I'm not going to like elaborate on my personal history every now and then. I'll pick topics, and I'll pick like toy lines to talk about, and just, you know, if you got a suggestion, like, hey, pick something, just put it in the comments, let me know. I'll pick it up if I can. If I have anything like any connection to the toy, I will. If I don't, I might just invite you to this like do an episode with me. I got a little bit of a hiccup there. I just had dinner. So yeah. So what is Toy Talk all about? Well, this episode was actually going to be about 2 toy conventions that I visited the past couple of weeks, and I'll talk to you about that right now. Any excuse to really play that song, huh? Yeah. Okay. So yeah, the first thing I want to talk about is a few weeks ago, I went to Germany and I went to Toyplosion 3.2. the third edition of Toyplosion, and it was amazing. They called it 3.2 because they actually like expanded, and they had like more dealers there. They opened up a second room with a lot of stuff in there, which at first I was like, okay, this is not going to work. But once I was in there, that was actually where I broke my first 50 and got my first deal, which is a stupid thing about me. Is like, I go to a toy convention and I bring cash. I always bring cash because it's a fail-safe. For me, it's like, okay, I know I'm not going to overspend, hopefully, on toys. This is the budget. This is where I got to like stay within. And I bring 50s because that will prevent me from buying little frivolous items and spending a lot of money or wasting a lot of money on small frivolous items that I don't really need, like stickers or, buttons and stuff like that. And as long as that first 50 is not broken into, like, okay, still there, I'm fine. Once that first 50 goes out of the window, I get like change back, it's fast. I'm like bum, and I'm flat out of money. The same thing for Toyplosion 3.2. It was big. I was there last year and I bought a lot of good stuff. I was there again this year. I bought a lot of good stuff. I'll tell you all about it in a bit. And I was definitely overwhelmed by Toyplosion. Again, same thing as last year. I go there and there's just so much to do and so much to see that I got overstimulated. And I'm like, okay, I'm just walking around. I'm not really taking anything in. I'm just looking at stuff. And I'm not really registering it anymore. I'm like, okay, yeah, this is too much. And then I get out, get some fresh air, go back in, and I'm good to go. The the one thing with Toyplosion that really struck me this year was that, apart from it being really big and too intense, really sometimes, is the prices. I was amazed at how many high-end, super expensive items were there, or what some vendors would consider high-end, super pricey items that weren't. The big downside to that for me is that I start to lose focus. You pick up one figure that hey, I want this one. This is something I still want, and you ask for the price, and it's like sky high, and you go, okay, no, I'm not gonna do it. And you walk around a little bit, and you find it again, and you go, hey, there he is again. Let's ask, and it's once again sky high. Not the same price, probably higher. Perhaps a bit lower, but still really high. Okay, oh, damn it. And after that, I lose interest. And then I could see it 50 times for a good price and not register it because I'm like, fuck it. It's expensive here. I'm not gonna find anything of that. I luckily, I did have a bit of luck. And there was this one vendor, Retro Yuri, who was very smart and knew what I wanted. So I had seen, I bought a She-Ra cat scratching Catra on card from him. And I had seen her a couple of times before at the show. And she was high up there. I was like, oh, no. She's one of those She-Ra figures, Master of the Universe, that I just adore. It's such a beautiful figure. Look her up, or maybe I'm going to work with like slides for the YouTube thing. I don't know. It's a gorgeous figure, and the cat scratching She-Ra was on card, and I asked around, and the prices were like, okay, if I buy this, I'm blowing my budget on one figure. And then I circled back to Yuri a little bit. We talked a little bit, and he's like, "Oh, wait a minute, I got something for you," because I contacted him a couple weeks before that through I think it was Instagram. And I said, I brought her. And I was like, oh, shit. And he had a cat scratching Catra. That's a tongue breaker right there. Tongue twister. On card, in good condition. Good card. Not the best card, but still good enough for a very good price. And he also had the Iridian Red Fashion, which is like the She-Ra figures came with a fashion set. Didn't came. They made fashion sets for the She-Ra dolls, or figures, not dolls. which you could like, dress them up in, because it had to appeal to the girls. There had to be a dress up element. There had to be a Barbie element in there, I guess. So those two, the Catra and the Radiant Red fashion, he made me an insanely sweet deal. So that really was like, okay, let's do it. Well, that's not exactly how it went. He offered me the two for a price. I countered it, and he's like, oh, I don't know, you're hurting me here. And I'm like, okay. So I walked a little bit, bought the first item off my list, which was a Masters of the Universe Fisto. Oddly enough, I never had that figure up until now. I mean, it's not a really rare figure. I have rare items in my collection, but that one was still not there. I didn't get it. I just never bought it. I was like, every time I see it, I'm like, it's just Fisto. But this guy had it nicely packed away, really clean, neat looking, had a good price tag on it. I think it was $20 or something. So I'm like, okay, let's boogie. Let's do this. So that was the Fisto. That broke the ice, circled around a little bit, and then I found something else from Master of the Universe, which is not vintage. Woo, that was a little bit of a commercial, like, sleek thing there. But it was not vintage, but it was for a board game for Master of the Universe, Fields of Eternia, which I thoroughly enjoy. And he had these miniatures for sale, which was like the main characters on their mounts. So like She-Ra on Swiftwind, and He-Man on Battlecat, Skeletor on Panther, King Hiss on his Titanosaurus, I think, or something like that, and Hordak with a Horde Wraith. I would have expected him to be with that the Mantisaur, I think it's called. But no, they didn't do that, which understandable because it's a bulky thing. I'm pretty sure that's why they didn't do it. So okay, so I had my Fisto. I had these pieces for my board game. I circled around a little bit, ran into Tiago. Tiago had an item for me as well, which was already agreed upon before Toyplosion, so I knew I was out of money before I even started. He had a Dynamo, which is from the Mask line, which is like a small vehicle, still sealed, excellent condition, box was perfect, and I got that one too. And I don't really collect masks actively, but whenever I see it, I'm like, oh yeah, damn, that's so cool. Unfortunately for me, at the moment, the prices for mask items are sky high. So as of yet, I'm not really going to invest in it. Whenever I see them and they're a good price, I buy them. I mean, I bought a Manta a few months ago from Mark at Old School Toys for a great price, and it was boxed. Gorgeous artwork. That's what's so beautiful about Mask. It's the artwork. I'm looking at the Boulder Hill playset right here, which I have boxed, and I'm like, wow, yeah. Just looking at it, you can just see the adventures play out in your mind, and I think that, in general, is the power of the vintage 80s and 90s toys. They had so much more imagination going on than what's released today. I mean, I could just look at a box or a card and just have that adventure already in my head. Like, okay, when I get this is what I'm going to do with it. So, yeah, Mask Dynamo, neat item. Not something I was necessarily looking for, but Tiago offered it up, and it was a good price. And I'm like, oh, sure, I'll take it. And I had a couple of weeks to save for it because we agreed to like have it change hands at Toyplosion. So yeah, a little bit of like doing absolutely nothing, and then I circled back to Yuri, and he looked at me, he had this smile on his face, like, well, let's do this. He's like, yo, let's do this. So I got it for the price I wanted, took him home, really happy with my beautiful figures. And then there's this moment that you probably recognize when you're at a big toy convention like Toyplosion, or in the Toy Zone, or whatever, Vintage Toys of the Universe. And for me, that's the moment when mental exhaustion kicks in. And I'm like, drained. I cannot set another step. I'm just too tired. I'm checking out videos from like Ads Retro Geek Out and keep them in mind. And, oh, sorry, I forgot. There was someone else. But at least, I was looking at the videos and I'm like, oh, damn, I missed that. Oh, crap, I missed that. Like, that's just what happens. I'm mentally exhausted. So I went outside, had a little bit of a drink, something to eat, went back in, and actually it was like around 3 o'clock. We had to get back because one of us had to be back around 6 for something, and it's like an hour and a half drive for us, so it's not that far. And it was like, okay, final round. Let's just take one more round in, and I walked past this vendor who was selling all these Hammond Collection Jurassic Park items. And my wife is absolutely nutter butters about them. She loves them. She just started collecting. I mean, I think she has like 3 of them now. She has the Spinosaurus, the Stegosaurus, and a baby trike, I think, a Triceratops. But she's absolutely crazy about them. She loves these dinosaurs. And it's like, okay, I'm just gonna get my wife a little surprise. And he had a good deal, or what I thought it was a good deal. But then, it always pays to check. Check, double check, because we all been there, that you get super greedy, super enthusiastic about something, you take it home, and then you look at it, it's like, oh, crap, it's broken, or, oh, no, it's been opened, it's not sealed, I've been had. Well, that was the case with this. I'm like, oh, damn it. I almost bought them, but then I saw the boxes, and they're like, oh, they were damaged. And my wife is an in-box collector for the for the dinosaurs. She wants to keep them boxed. So I passed on that. And then from one dinosaur mishap, I stumbled onto Dinosaur Treasure, because there she was, a beautifully carded Jurassic Park Ali Sattler on card. And that card was in such a good condition that, I'm not a grader. I'm not against grading per se. I just don't do it myself, and I don't really attach any value to it. But this is one I would have graded, and I'm expecting it to come back with good grades, because it was really, really good, pristine, and it was there. And when you're there and you go through your pockets and you go through your wallet if you have one, and you're just like, oh. Yeah, I got the money for it, but then I'm flat out. Oh, yeah. And I still need to buy something to drink. I still want some food. I better not do it. And the guy comes up to me and says, you're looking at this piece? Yeah, I'm looking at it, but I'm not going to buy it. And why not? I said, well, it's not the price per se, but it's the consequences of not having anything to eat afterwards. So he smiled, and with a little bit of haggling, and I talked it down a little bit, and ended up taking it with me, because and I'm not a Jurassic Park collector, and I'm really contradicting myself, because my focus, I always say my focus is on 1980s toys. Jurassic Park is not 1980s, it's 1990s, but still, it's dinosaurs. It's the universal appeal. They're awesome. So I'm like, yeah, I gotta have it. And now that I have it, and it's in my room, it just pops out, the beautiful original Jurassic Park logo, the red card, the pristineness of it all. I'm like, oh, good deal. So that went into the bag, and I'm like, okay, now I'm done. I'm walking past. I was just about to say goodbye to a couple of the vendors that I know, like Peter from the Old School Toys, and Mark Nabban from... come on. That's Old School Toys. I said, I just mixed that up. I made a boo-boo there. Peter is from the Toy Boys, of course, and Mike Nabban is from Old School Toys. Excuse me, gentlemen. I went to Taya for the Toy Zone. Just say, hey, bye-bye, and I'm going to go home. Bye-bye. Saying goodbye to Yuri. Bye-bye. And then Mark was from Old School Toys, actually the last one. And he was busy, and I was just waiting for him to finish so I could shake his hand and go home. And then I'm starting to look at his G.I. Joes, and I'm like, oh man, he's got loose Joes. And then I saw one that I didn't have yet, and I still need it. Let me explain, because I have this G.I. Joe poster, and the listeners that are a bit older probably know that poster. That was a poster that was originally in the store, where the original, the first line of figures that were released in the Netherlands were actually on. And I have all the figures on that poster, except one, and that was Quick Kick, or Flitz, as he was called in the Netherlands. And I didn't have that one yet. It's the poster that has like the top of it is like a beautiful illustration of the Joes and the Cobras all lined up and in action poses. It's really gorgeous. I have it right here. It's beautiful. I'm glad I have it. And Quick Kick or Flitz was the last one missing from that poster. So I'm like, oh, yeah, I could complete it right now. And I'm not a completionist, but, it would be cool to have that final piece and to, close that chapter. So we haggled a little bit. And Mark, if you ever buy from Mark, Mark always has good prices. Well, all the guys have good prices. That's beyond, reprieve. I mean, that's good. They have good prices. They have fair prices. But Mark just, okay, I can do you deal on that one. And he did. And I took him home. And that was the last one. And I spent my absolute... Because Mark actually adjusted the price. I don't think he knew. But he exactly named the price of what was left in my pocket. And I'm like, okay, this is a divine sign. I have to buy Quick. So I bought him. Took him home with me. And, we went home. Exhausted. I know my friend Mark, he bought a lot of Ghostbusters. He bought some high-end Ghostbuster stuff. I know Jeroen is a friend of mine. He's really into Star Trek. Went really overboard with Playmates, the toy line from the 1990s. Those smaller, not so good-looking Star Trek figures, but they're just so collectible and cool. And he had like bags of them. He was like really tilting over to one side because he had so many bags with him. Marius. He's into a lot of into Visionaries, and I know he completed his line because he got Recon there. And to anyone who is into Visionaries, you know who Recon is. It's one of those yak face kind of things. He's rare. He came with the Dagger Assault, I think. And the stupid thing is, he actually has the Dagger Assault. He has it. He has had it for like a year and a half. He's had it. It's like an amazing piece. But he didn't have the figure. And now he has the figure. So you're like, dude, you completed it. He's like, oh, dude, I went so overboard with all the stuff I bought. But it's like, yeah, I had to get it. So, yeah, Toyplosion 3.2. Is it worth it? Yes, I think it's worth it. Yes, I definitely think it's worth it. I'm really looking forward to next edition. I'll be there. I'll be there again. Perhaps I'll be wearing Toy Talk t-shirts and Toy Talk caps by then. Some self-promotion. I don't know. Probably not. But I'll be there, and then I'll definitely I'll be enjoying it again. It's like the German hospitality of it all. I really like their hospitality, and I think the prices were fair. I mean, I had like a Diet Coke and some Apfelkuchen, which is like apple pie, sort of. It wasn't exactly the apple pie we have in the Netherlands, but it's close to. And I think I spent $5 on it, which is, for a convention, that's not too bad. Oh, yeah. Speaking of which, that's the last item I bought. I actually bought one of those Toyplosion cups with She-Ra and Hordak battling it out. I normally don't buy stuff like that, but it was such a beautiful image. I'm like, yeah, okay, that's just it's not vintage, but it's gonna look amazing in the toy room. So there you go. I bought it. So, okay. Toyplosion, worth it, definitely worth it. It's busy, yeah. It's full, yeah. I don't do well in crowds anymore. That I did notice. I mean, 20 years ago, this was my thing. I could have been there the entire day, not batted an eye. Now, and closing in on 50, I'm like, oh, okay. I think I'm kind of done. Well, yeah, that's just how the cookie crumbles. So, yeah. Okay, so that was Toyplosion. Really awesome. A lot of good loot. And then we got a surprise invite a couple days later. I actually got the invite to my from my Ghostbuster group. I'm the Ghostbusters Dutch division. Got invited to attend Hendrik Collectibles in Almelo in the Netherlands, and I never heard of it. I do know the man. I knew Hendrik. I mean, I met him at I think a Dutch Comic Con it was, and we talked about it. But these things, you get so much info, and it just slips back and falls back to the nether regions of your mind, lower regions of your mind even. And you're like, I forgot. And then he sent me a message like, hey, are you guys still coming? I'm like, we are. And he said, well, we didn't agree on anything. He said, but would you like to be there? And it's like, okay, it's Almelo. From where I live, that's 50 minutes. It's toys. You know what? Let's go. And the main reason I went was, well, because I promised, obviously, or I actually, wanted to help the man out. But also, I always bitch and moan about there not being enough toy fairs, toy conventions in the north of the Netherlands. It's always Utrecht, in the south, Breda, whatever, or Belgium even, or Germany, but never like close to home. So I figured, you know what? If I can do it, I'll just go there. I'll go there. So I invited my friend Marius. He's also in the Ghostbuster group, and one of my close friends, Danielle. And we was like, okay, you know what? Let's just suit up and go there. And it was like small. It was not nowhere near Toyplosion measurements, but it was cozy. And I actually had the time to like look around, make another round, talk a little bit, have a cup of coffee. You know what? I'm going to check it again. And actually, I promised myself, like, okay, I didn't take a lot of money with me because I was like, oh, I really went overboard at Toyplosion. I didn't overspend, but I spent enough. And there's no way I'm going to get the money or that I'll be able to go all out again at another convention. So I paced myself, like, okay, be careful, don't take too much. I only took a couple of euros with me. That turned out to be a big mistake because I was pleasantly surprised by Hendrik Collectibles. As I said, I was surprised by how well set up it was. It was spacious. You had room. And it was still busy. I mean, there was a lot of people there. I mean, it was one of those gym halls that we have in the Netherlands, for PE, for sports education for kids, and like a basketball court. And it was full to the brim. There was a lot of people there, but not too much. We could still walk around. It could still be the Ghostbusters, people taking pictures and everything. And in between takes, we would just, okay, let's look for some toys. And yeah, it happened. I mean, the first thing I found was after a couple of rounds, I was like, I actually passed them a couple times, and I was like, oh, no, don't do it. Don't do it, Andre. Don't do it. You don't need those. And then the three figures looked at me and said, the fuck you do? You do need us, so you better buy us. And hence I bought the 3 of the 4 A-Team bad guys from Galoob. The larger version, so not the small G.I. Joe versions, but the larger ones. And I think I got Python, Rattler, and Viper. Yeah, I think I got Python, Rattler, and I always mix them up. I never had them as a kid. As a kid, I did see them on the back packaging, I think, or something. I didn't know they were there, and I thought they were super stupid. Because I didn't know. Okay, these don't look like A-Team. They don't look like the bad guys from the A-Team. And I was more into the Galoob smaller line, the 3/4, I think it was, line. The G.I. Joe sized line. So I had those, and then I think I did have them, but they had no articulation like the A-Team figures did. And there was just, you can tell that Galoob was cutting corners. So they were stupid to have. But now, hey, I got a very nice A-Team collection. I got the larger ones. I got the smaller ones. I got a few carded ones. So, yeah. Okay, let's do it. Let's buy them and take them home. And as I was taking them home, and I was actually unpacking them, when I got home, I was like, yeah, you guys still hella stupid. You guys are still so stupid. But yeah, I took them home, and as I was unpacking them, I was like, yeah, now I know why I used the General Patch figures as enemies for the A-Team. The General Patch is actually a pretty good, funny story. The molds for the General Patch figures were used again on the A-Team, because they're the exact same bodies and the exact same sculpts, except like body sculpts. Only the heads are different. And the items, the jet, the patrol boat, the tank, or whatever, the armored vehicle, it's all General Patch recolored. It's really funny. It's just the same figures. So I use those General Patch and Evil Enemy figures to battle the A-Team. It was like, okay, they're fighting against the military police and the enemies of some state, whatever. I made up the craziest stories as a kid. So I took those home with me. They were not complete. It was just the figures, and I think they had I was going to check real quick. Yeah, they do have the M16s, but that was about it. But it was a good price, and I'm like, you don't run into them that often, so let's go. I put them in the bag, walked 3 steps, and I was like, shit, there we go again. I walked into the booth of a person that I know, not by name, but he's there a lot. He was there in the Toy Zone a couple times, and he has the most exquisite G.I. Joe figures, the more expensive ones, the like the Quarrels and what have you, like European variant versions from like Brazil and what have you. He had a lot of that Estrada stuff. I think he had Estrada stuff. He has a lot of cool stuff there. So I was like, oh yeah, I need this. Oh, this is cool. I'm like, no, don't do it. And then he had this small, cute little armadillo tank, which is like a small vehicle. As I said before at the beginning, they had like the giant ass play sets that cost you a fortune, but also these small little vehicles that set you back a couple guilders, and you had something to take home and play with. And the armadillo was one of those things. It was a very small 4-barrel tank. 1 person fits in it. 2 Joes could stand on the back. That's it. And it was excellent. I was like, okay. I saw he had it priced, stickered on it, and I'm like, I'm not even going to haggle. I'm just going to take it. And then my eye fell on this beautiful boxed Cobra Fang gyrocopter, which I had as a kid, which was actually the first vehicle I ever got for G.I. Joe. The proper vehicle. And I saw the box art, and I was like, wow, it's cool. And he said, it's cool, huh? I said, this is really cool. Yep, it's cool. He said, okay, you're interested? And yeah, I said, I can make you a deal for the armadillo and the Fang, and I'll throw in the Cobra Viper. That's on the artwork, on the box. I'll throw that in for free so you have a pilot with it as well. It wasn't sealed, so it's like, okay, sure. And I got such a good deal. So into the bag it went, and I'm like, oh. And once again, and that was the moment that I should have stopped, but I didn't. I also found 3 figures from a toy line that my mom bought as a replacement for He-Man, which was so expensive. And it was a time back then when He-Man was like the big thing, and sword and sorcery was like big. And you had Conan, you had Red Sonja, you had Krull, all these movies just tying into that, and just feeding off of that energy. And there was this toy line called The Other World, and I think it was by Arco. And these were pretty cheapy figures. They were bendables, and then there was these bendable figures, and you had like I think they were called the Glogons, which were the evil ones. And you had the Terrans, which were like the good guys, led by Orion, I think. No, not Orion, by Ronin and Krina and the Gyps, those little small little creatures. And they had all sorts of monsters and dragons and what have yous there. And they were cheap. They came in these big boxes. And, for the price of 1 He-Man figure, your mom took home like a giant box filled with glow-in-the-dark weapons and enemies and dragons and tigers and monsters. And yeah, I had a lot of those because I enjoyed playing with them because their weapons were glow in the dark. I mean, you can't get any more gimmicky in 80s than glow in the dark. And I just played with them all the time. And I've been hunting them on and off, but every time I find pieces, I am either put off by the quality of them, because, they tend to tear, because it's like a rubbery, bendy body with an iron, iron framework, metal framework, like a bendable metal. So either they were in poor condition or really overpriced, and whenever I had the fortune of finding something boxed or carded, I'm like, no. More than I'm comfortable with, which is really my motto whenever I collect toys, is like, okay, first thing I do is, if I see something, first question is, would I be upset if I pass this booth again in an hour and the thing is gone? Yeah, I would be. Okay, then this is clearly an indication that I really, really want it. Then I ask myself the question, is the price okay? Is it not more than I'm comfortable with? I have this discussion with a lot of people, like, yeah, but it's worth more. I know, but this is what I'm comfortable with paying for it. It could be worth, I mean, a beautiful example would be the Ghostbusters Ectoglow figures. They're worth insanely amount of money right now. They're like insanely expensive right now. They are so over the top expensive right now. I'm not buying them for those prices because that is more than I'm comfortable with. Well, I did get them as we speak. I mean, I'm putting my final payments into the complete set that I bought, but I didn't pay top dollar for them. It's just still a lot if you buy all 5 at once, but you know, there you go. More than I'm comfortable with. Hendrik Collectibles. Okay, so I covered it. I covered the things I wanted to cover. I'm 45 minutes in. I don't really want to take it too long. I think 45 minutes is pretty sweet for a podcast to last. It shouldn't be any longer. So, Toyplosion, awesome. Hendrik Collectibles, surprisingly good. If you're in the neighborhood, I mean, I know he's doing one again in February. Keep a lookout. If you got it, you got the time, the opportunity, go. You'll be surprised. I liked it. I really, really liked it. You get an affordable cup of coffee there, some good sandwiches, grilled cheese, stuff like that. It was good. I had a lot of fun. The Ghostbusters had a lot of fun. Okay, so with that being said, I want to conclude the first episode of Toy Talk. If there's anything you want to share with me, just put it in the comments below. I'm not going to ask you to like and subscribe. I mean, if you want to do it, feel free to do so. But it's not necessary. I'm not making any money off of this. My livelihood will not depend on this podcast, which is a good thing. If you want to follow me, I am on Instagram, just under my name, Andre Hitting. You can just find me there. I don't have a separate Toy Talk channel there. I still don't feel like doing it. I did. My YouTube channel is now Toy Talk because I want to devote it to this, at least for now. So yeah, that's it. Thank you all so much for listening. If you want to be a part of it, let me know. Just hook me up, hook up. I mean, let me know. Send me a message or call me, or like a pigeon or something, homing pigeon, whatever. As long as it gets to me, we'll be fine, and we can see we'll see what we can do in terms of the show. Okay, thanks everyone. I'm just gonna leave you with the outro tune for now, and hope to see you again or talk to you soon.
Neon lights on the bedroom wall, cassette tape spinning, I had it all. Glow sticks cracking in the summer night. Slap bracelet snaps, everything felt right. We were kids of the neon glow, MTV dreams on the radio. Dancing wild where the strong lights go. We didn't know where we would go. Roller skates on the cracked asphalt, Polaroid smiles, no filter default. The Walkman bus with our favorite sound. Rewind, flip tape, let it spin back around. Freeze the frame, don't let it fade. Our world was magic handmade.